We on? Is that a yes? Oh, good.
Minute.
As I'm running in, trying to get organized.
Mhm.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a meeting of the Silverton Housing Authority.
Thanks.
And Chase, you want to kick it off?
Gotta do a roll call.
Oh, please and thank you.
Trustee Brosh,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Trustee Halverson. Here. Trustee Wakefield,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Schnittker is absent, Mayor Harper.
Here. Do we have any staff or board revisions to your agenda? Beautiful. Do we have any in-house public comment? I don't see any. Do we have any public comment online regarding the Silverton Housing Authority? Seeing none, we'll close comment. Go straight to our agenda item. First one is approval of the May 4th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the May 4th minutes.
Second. Beautiful. Roll call, please.
Brosh,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Halverson,
Yes.
Trustee Wakefield, Mayor Pro Tem Mayor Harper.
Him too, yes. Thank you so much. All right, item number 5, amending the Silverton Housing Authority Affordability Covenants for AHOP compliance.
Yep. So you'll find in front of you supplemental materials. Chris, I have these notes pulled up online and I just emailed you a copy of the draft amendment. I got the draft amendment 20 minutes ago, so I couldn't include it in the board packet, but the gist of the covenant was in your memo. But I just wanted to have it directly in front of you. So in the Anvil Townhomes development, we received a grant called the AHOP grant from the state of Colorado. And we recently were made aware of guidelines that apply to this grant agreement super late in the stage. But we are in the process of deconflicting our covenants with the recorded division of housing covenants. And so the division of housing requires that homeowners receive a fair return on investment, which has a very specific definition. It's that the homeowner, so we're going to dive into the example to explain it. So in 2018, let's say there was a house that sold for $200,000. Between 2018 and 2016, this is a real number. There's a 26% increase in the median home value in Silverton.
96 or 26?
Sorry, 96. Okay. And in that same time frame, incomes only increased 37%. So that's almost a 3% outpacing of the increase in home value versus income levels. And this is why we have an affordability crisis. But this is important for the fair return on investment calculation. So let's assume that the buyer put $5,000 down, and they made $5,000 in permitted capital improvements. So the total owner investment would be defined as that $10,000. So the fair return on investment would take that investment of 10K, multiply it by 96%, which gives you 9,600. So the total return that that owner would get on that investment would be their original investment of 10K plus the 9,600 of their earned interest, which would be a total of 19,600 in return. So that would be added to the sale price of 200K to 219,600. And so that would be about a 1.1% compounding return on investment. All the other, our current covenants have a 3% appreciation cap, so that's 3% simple. So running that same scenario, you do 3% times 8 for 8 years times 200K, so you get a $48,000 appreciation. plus capital improvements of 5K brings it to 53K. So the resale price would be 2,500 and, well, sorry, 2,050. Well, here we go. 253,000. And so that would be an annual appreciation rate of 3% simple. So the state is requiring that at a minimum, owners receive a fair return on investments. And our fee, so there's 3 units that are monitored by the state of the 9 townhomes. So we're only going to amend 3 of the covenants to have this fair return on investment requirement to satisfy that grant requirement. But we're going to propose, or I am proposing to you right now, that we have, at the time of resale, the maximum sale price will be greater of their fair return on investment or the 3% appreciation cap. And the intention behind this is that it meets the CDOH minimum requirement. So we have to have this fair return on investment. But including our 3% appreciation cap prevents the equity trap for buyers where they sell their home, their deed restricted home, but they still don't have enough equity to go and put a down payment on a market rate house.
Mhm.
So it's keeping it fair for these 3 units that have to be monitored so that they can still do the 3% appreciation while still meeting the AHOP requirements. I don't really have a choice. Like there are no options here except for yes. Otherwise we'd have to give back our grant. That just won't happen. Do you guys have any questions about any of this? This will go in front of the commissioners on Wednesday, and we're closing on our first AHOP monitored unit on Friday. And yeah, this has been, we'll get into this in a later on the 22nd of June. But we will get into where these guidelines came from. Why is this catching us off guard? But we didn't know these guidelines existed until 3 weeks ago.
And this has a question.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, this is just more for my information, but in this example, there wasn't any, equity built. If there's equity built, does that factor into that at all, or is it just the down payment and the capital improvements?
Are you saying if someone put in sweat equity?
No, just monthly payments, you're building equity, such as a down payment would be as
Oh,
well.
right.
I just didn't
I
know
see.
if that factored into it at all, or it sounds like it wouldn't with, whatever is greater of the 2. But I was just curious for my own information if they, pay down their loan a whole lot, does that mean that, say, they've got, 100,000 in equity instead of 5,000 or maybe 10,000 if you're counting the kind of the capital investment as well there?
Yeah. I think the owner, and this is just shooting from the hip here, my gut instinct is that as the owner pays down their loan, they would realize, is that true? I think it's equal for the same, or for both. So the fair return on investment is based on down payment and capital improvements. It doesn't include equity paid over time. And the appreciation cap is based off of the original sale price. So that equity that you put into your house just kind of silently rides with you until you sell your home, but it's not necessarily factored into the appreciation of the house. If that makes sense. You'll get that equity back when you sell your house, but it's not the part that's appreciating, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes sense. Thanks.
Any questions?
No, it just sounds like we have one option. regardless.
Yeah.
However the numbers play out, there's no other option.
Right.
And I'll give credit to our attorney with New Communities Law, who realized that we could still have the 3% appreciation cap. My fear was that we were pigeonholing those into the fair return on investment, those 3 homes that we were amending. But we think that we can include this 3% appreciation cap. So we're not pigeonholing these 3 units.
But we think we can, or we absolutely can.
We think we can. We need to hear back from the state. If we don't hear back from the state by tomorrow, I'm gonna record the covenant anyways. Because we won't have an option. It'll be like a good enough. Yep.
Yeah, sounds like we have one option. We want to dig into this on the 22nd. The why here, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Chris, do you still have a question or is your hand just still raised? Great.
That's my fault. Sorry.
All good.
Well, I only see one course here, and that is to make a motion.
I'll make a motion to amend the Silverton Housing Authority's Declaration of Affordability Covenants to comply with the requirements of the grant agreement 32782 AHOP Anvil Walsh Townhomes.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a person second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brosh,
Yes.
trustee Brown,
Yes.
trustee Halverson,
Yes.
Wakefield,
Yes.
Mayor Harper.
Yes. Perfect.
Dan.
Yep. And then we have our joint meeting with the county on Monday.
15th.
Yep. Meeting. Second. Great. Thank you all.
Do we have any public comment? I don't believe so.
On the Housing Authority.
We do not. All right, our one agenda item is complete. I will close the Silverton meeting. It is 5:30 PM. Can we give everyone 5 minutes? Is that cool? Before our next meeting?
Sure.
All right. 5 minutes. let's do it. I just feel uncomfortable.
Sorry.
Always, yeah. All right, we're rolling. Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome. For those of you who'd like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please do so now.
This is the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All righty. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a regular meeting of the Silverton Board of Trustees. June 8th. And the time is 5:37 PM. And I call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Trustee Brosh,
Here.
Brown,
Here.
Here.
Wakefield,
Here.
Rachel Schiffler,
Here.
Harper.
Here. Perfect. Do we have any board or staff revisions? Thank you, sir. Welcome. To the agenda item this evening.
No revisions.
We do not. All right. Since we see no revisions, we will open up this meeting to public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes apiece, and when you come up to the podium or raise your hand online, please state your name. Thank you so much. Any in-person comment?
Hello. My name's Evan. I'll keep this pretty brief. I think that Holly would be a great addition to the town board. That's not to say that JP would not. However, I think we need better representation on the board to better represent the demographics of this town. I think a good governance and board has a lot of varying perspectives and what like each and every one of you bring from your life into it. That creates a really good way to make sure that not one narrative is getting seen the whole time, or that other people in town might be not as well represented on the board, basically. And I think that the better we can have varying voices come together to bring unique perspectives, that's a really good way of making sure that we have a representative board that makes decisions in town. That's it.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Any other in-person comments? Okay.
Hello trustees, my name is Brendan Gibson. My wife Alex and I own a small plot of land at the bottom of Shrine Hill. Might remember me from the last 6 years of coming to these meetings. We have I believe, the chance of an approval of some public works for the $1.31 million for roads and services to the special improvement district at the bottom of Shrine Hill. I would just urge the trustees to approve that tonight, and it'd be great if we could get that started. We've been waiting a long time and be really excited if we could get that going.
Thank you, sir. All right. Anyone else in the audience this evening? Any hands raised online? Anybody online that would like to make a comment? Okay.
Jeff, if you can,
Is that
yeah, I see his hand raised. See, you're off mute. Are you talking? Because we can't hear you. Still nothing.
okay? We'll come back to you. Next. We have Ian.
Hello,
Hello.
Oh, good
can you
evening.
hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. I would like to show my support for the town board position being given to or appointed to Holly Hubner. Very, how can I put this? She participates a lot in the community. She creates events for the community. I think she's a very active in the business community as well, and involved in many aspects of Silverton, and understands, I think, different facets of what Silverton needs, and comes to the table not only educated on where she got her opinion, but also open to discuss in ways that I think would very much be a benefit to the board and to the town. Thanks.
Thank you. You gonna try Jeff again?
Okay, let's try this again. Is this working?
There you are, sir. Welcome.
Great. Yeah, thanks so much. Hi everyone. This is Jeff Diener, the SID representative. I just sorry I couldn't make tonight's meeting in person. And I also wanted to apologize for my very long, detailed emails. I know it's a lot to digest, but I want you to have all the information possible so you can make informed decisions here moving forward. Hopefully you have clarity on the pertinent numbers and the decisions in front of you regarding correcting any required contingency amounts and our solution to shouldering the cost for services directly with the contractor. Other than that, we've received positive news from the bank for financing, but town does need to finalize a bid contract so we have known project costs. So hopefully you can award this project and we can keep things at roughly that 1.31 million number. And I'll be here and look forward to any questions you have. Thanks a lot.
Perfect. Thank you, sir. Any other online comments? Any other in-person comments? Seeing none, we will close public comment period until the end of the meeting. All right, moving along. Agenda item number 4, consent agenda. Any highlights from our consent agenda this evening?
Yeah, I just want to quickly highlight the Colorado Health Foundation Planning Grant Letter of Support.
Terrific.
So this is a grant that the town would be applying for. It would be in significant partnership with Anvil residents. So this grant opportunity would be for the design and planning of park space in the Anvil subdivision. If this grant application is successful, the county has identified a portion of county property up there in the Anvil subdivision that would be dedicated as park space. So while the town will be applying for this grant, it's very much a community-driven project, and it will really be driven by the Anvil community.
Perfect. Very exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anything else? Anybody else? Questions, comments?
I just wanted to uplift the letter of support for the disc golf expansion. I saw they're raising funds the other day, so I think that's great. Good work on that letter, Jim.
Right. Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh, that's good.
Rob?
Good.
Doc? Chris Carl? You guys are great. All right, thumbs up. All righty, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Second.
Sorry.
I need a second.
I thought we had a second.
Thank you. Trustee Brush?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Thompson?
Yes.
Yes.
Representative Schiffers?
Yes.
Yes. Perfect. Moving on to agenda item number 5, staff reports.
Yeah, and again, here I'll just quickly just highlight a few things. We'll very soon be under contract for our Colorado Water Conservation Board Water Plan Grant. So I imagine if all goes to plan at the next meeting, we'll be bringing sub-award agreements with Mountain Studies Institute and Ramboy Engineering Board. And so design and engineering for wetland and fen restoration will kick off this summer. Also just wanted to provide a quick update on our congressionally directed spending. We do have, just as of today, an article in the Durango Herald about this project. And Lisa Poole from Senator Hickenlooper's office was up last week to tour the wastewater treatment plant and to talk about the project and the congressionally directed spending funding. So we are in a bit of a holding pattern with accessing that funding until we have our permit limits from the CDPHC. I'm feeling pretty confident, though, that we have about a 2-year window to engage with our EPA community grant. So we definitely want to, keep on top of the CDPHE and getting those permit limits. But right now we do have a comfortable window to still access this funding and get going on the treatment plant project.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Any update on CDPHE timing? Same thing? Yeah, okay.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Carl, Chris? I see a thumbs up. All right. Perfect. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 6, presentations and proclamations. We have a terrific presentation from our Colorado Housing and Finance Authority. Mr. Chris Lopez, how are you, sir?
Good. Thanks for
Welcome.
having me. Yeah, thanks for having me up here tonight. So I'll keep this pretty quick, just informational session for you all. So again, my name's Chris Lopez. I am a community relationship manager for the Colorado Housing and Finance Authority. That's a mouthful, I know, but better known as CHAPA, CHFA. Next slide, please. I actually just live down the hill in Hermosa. So who is CHAFA? A lot of people think we are a state agency. Well, we're not a state agency. We were created by the state to address affordable housing back in 1973, but we do not receive any direct appropriations through the state. So that's the difference in us versus Division of Housing that is under DOLA or Department of Local Affairs. They are the state housing agency. So we generate our own income through our lending activities, through private activity bonds. So the interesting thing about CHAPA is kind of our money is our money that we raise, and we operate more like a corporate nonprofit. It says here the governor does appoint 8 of our 11 board members. That's pretty much our direct tie to the state. Other than that, we do administer federal and state contracts for a fee. And since our inception in 73, we have raised and invested over $40 billion in the state of Colorado, which is a pretty big number. So next, please. Mission, we strengthen Colorado by investing in affordable housing and community development with a vision that everyone in Colorado has the opportunity for housing stability and economic prosperity. Next. And here's our 4 basically business lines. Most people know CHAFA for our home ownership mortgage products. So when I travel around my region, people are like, CHAFA is the reason I was able to get into my house, my first house, thank you. Or I have my mortgage with you guys. So our single family mortgage loan products, which there's lots of them, because we were created by the state, we don't want to compete with local banks and mortgage lenders. So we have about 150 banks and mortgage brokers that we partner with. They offer our CHAFA mortgage products. They underwrite those loans. We then purchase those from them, and then we do service those mortgages going forward. We offer a big reason people take CHAFA mortgage products is because of our down payment assistance programs. Again, there's a lot of different product lines within our home finance space. But we offer down payment assistance, a variety of those programs, and then you are required to take a home buyer education class to get a CHFA loan. You can either do that online at your own cost, or we do partner here locally with Homes Fund, who I know comes up to Silverton on an occasional basis and offers those free in-person classes. Total sidebar note. My wife, Jen Lopez, actually started Homes Fund. So she was the one who created it, came up with the vision of Homes Fund years ago. So home ownership, first and foremost, most people think of CHFA. Next, where people think of CHFA, rental housing financing. So we do administer those federal and state low-income housing tax credits. Those have built the most affordable rental housings across the country. You all do not have a tax credit that I'm aware of up here in Silverton, but down in Durango, some examples are like Lumion Apartments on 32nd Avenue and 250. Espero, which is kind of a permanent supportive housing complex for folks making very little, almost unhoused, up by the Manna Soup Kitchen, or out in Three Springs, the BOA Miramonte. But again, we administer those tax credits. We do manage HUD Section 8 compliance. So we have Section 8 compliance officers that manage compliance for that. So those are where most people know us. Next, where people don't really start to know CHFA is we do business lending. And so we have quite a few different business financing programs. I would say our biggest financing programs people are aware of are our cash collateral support and Colorado Credit Reserve. So again, access to capital. Again, we partner with those local banks. Region 9 Economic Development honestly does some of the most business lending across the state of Colorado for CHFA and our products. So a small business comes to the bank, they don't have that collateral for that bank to make that loan. We come in and we park money at that bank to allow them to then make those loans, access collateral, like 1% fee. Also, we do administer new markets tax credits similar to the housing side. These are for commercial developments. And I actually heard recently that there may be somebody considering those new markets tax credits for some projects up here in Silverton. We'll see where that goes. Lastly, community partnerships. This is what I'm a part of as a community relations. I'm like an ambassador, basically, not only saying, hey, who is CHFA and what do we do? But more importantly, why I love CHFA is they're like, hey, tell us who Silverton is. Tell us who Southwest Colorado is. We're all in Denver. We're about 220 employees. 200 of them are all in Denver. They have no idea what's going on in Southwest Colorado. So part of my job is also to go back and say, hey, here's the challenges, the needs, the solutions you all are coming up with. Where can we partner? Really cool. We do corporate giving because we're a corporate nonprofit. You see, we've made some money. We have pretty robust corporate giving sponsorship. So really excited to say I just got my drink tickets from the Silverton Creative District in the mail today for their summer concert series. So we sponsor, those are examples of sponsorships. Be happy to talk to any other nonprofits to sponsor any of their kind of community events, fundraisers. We do offer direct effect grant programs. So we do have grant making. Our next round's open right now for economic development. It's been exciting to support you all. I definitely be open. I know I've worked with Ann quite a bit on the ADU manual. I think we did a housing needs assessment maybe a few years ago too with some support, but be happy to talk to you all about where could we support you with some grant funding, maybe some staffing support needs for housing staff, things like that. So open to talking to you about some grant. Lastly, technical assistance. We do offer some sale technical assistance, Anvil Mountain. Like I know we've worked with you guys twice up here, both with Anvil Mountain initially, and then secondly with the Zenone parcel. So we have that available as well. So next slide. Just run through some numbers. Again, you can see 32 billion in home finance production, almost 170,000 customers, 5.1 billion. I mean, it's always just crazy to see these things that CHFA has done. 2.1 billion in business lending, almost 10,000 businesses. Next slide. Last year alone, 2 billion in mortgage products, 8 million in grant giving, 673 organizations supported. So again, these are pretty big numbers. It always impresses me with what the resources CHFA has. Next slide. This is how we look at affordable housing. It's not necessarily like, everybody has, what is affordable housing? Is it the projects over there? Is it, are you bringing in the homeless people from Denver to come move into our community? Is that what you're trying to do? We look at the housing continuum. Can you afford 30% of whatever your income is? Are you spending 30% or less on your housing needs? And so we look at this continuum then. It's basically, you're making less than 30% area median income for the area, you're really either unhoused in transitional housing or moving into permanent supportive housing. 30 to 80%, if you're making that, generally, you're really looking more affordable rental housing. 80% to 120%, you can either middle income rental housing, or that's when you can start looking into home ownership opportunities. You know, we all know how the pricing of houses are around here. That's not easy. Next slide. So keep going, next slide. Just a couple another last quick one. So you can see, so we started with one community relationship manager 7 years ago. That's Caroline Tranny over in southeastern Colorado. They expanded San Luis Valley. They opened my position in Northwest Colorado. I've been here 5.5 years now. So you can see I cover 9 counties down here, and we are just filling basically that Northwest and Mountain. We just created a brand new region there in the central part, and then Tricia too. So you can see we've expanded up to 6 community relationship managers over 7 years, where they didn't have a single one of us because they're like, hey, this engagement work is important for us. Next slide. Yeah, so I talked a little bit again about our sponsorship grants and donations, our technical assistance program. We do have a Colorado Affordable Housing Developers Guide online, tremendous resource. I know Ann has done amazing things for you all up here. She's just been quite an asset. It's been great to watch her really work hard towards getting housing up here. Looking to continue to support you all in any ways. Next slide. So again, these are the small scale technical assistance we've done around the state. You get 2 little dots here in San Juan County. Next slide. And that's it. So available for questions. And again, like I said, just down the hill. So.
Chris, thank you so much for being here this evening, traveling up the mountain to come see us. Do we have any questions?
Is there active work that's been done with San Juan County just in recent past year? Is it, you said you work with Anvil some?
Yeah, so I think the ADU, more with the town, I think we've been more, I mean, obviously partnership with the county on some of those projects. So I'd say the Zanoni was the most recent technical assistance that we did with you all. And like I said, we have not considered any kind of grant applications this year. I think last year we might have done the ADU.
Yeah.
So I'm open to, if there's other needs this year. We do have 2 grant cycles that are kind of formal, but Chaffa has really taken love for your community. So we have the ability, like we did with the ADU and the housing needs, that we can just kind of work directly. We had some other set aside funds that we could talk about other grant needs that the town may have that we could consider exploring.
You came on kind of a lucky night because we have a big agenda item next. So there's a lot of people in the community listening in. So if there's anything you wanted to say to the community about Chaffa, other than like what functions for government, is like, how do people apply for these grants, or like look into that?
Well, again, you can reach me. I'm available. Not sure if I post this information, but again, Chris Lopez. There's CS Lopez at CHFAINFO.com. But I would just say, if you are looking for the direct financing for folks who are in the community, if you're looking for direct financing to purchase a home, definitely get online at our website and you can find participating lenders. I know like First Southwest Bank, TBK Bank, Alpine Bank, a lot of these local banks here do offer Chaffa products. If you're looking for homeownership, you do start with those lenders. Homes Fund offers those in-person homebuyer education classes. So look out for those when they're coming up to Silverton and when they offer those next. And any kind of business financing, if anyone's, it's amazing how many they go down as like little low as $5,000. So if anybody's looking for business financing, I would definitely reach out to Region 9 Economic Development, partner of ours. For Southwest Community Bank also does a lot of our business lending financing. So usually kind of start with those lenders, but get on our Chaffa info website and there is so much. I've been at Chaffa 5.5 years. I'm still learning programs and resources we have available. It's a big organization, so. Great.
So if you don't take advantage, you're missing out.
Take advantage.
There you go.
Take advantage.
That's the tagline. Chris, thank you again.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. I'm available anytime.
Thank you. All righty. Moving right along to agenda item number 7, new business, 7A. Vacant trustee position. Just a quick recap. The Town of Silverton Board of Trustees held a special meeting last Tuesday, June 2nd. A meeting in which both trustee candidates presented and public comment was recognized. Tonight, we will have a trustee discussion, hopefully resulting in a motion. And second, appointing one of our 2 very qualified candidates, filling the 7th and final trustee seat. The vote is going to be a simple majority vote. If the motioned candidate does not receive the full majority of votes, we will repeat the process till we come to an outcome. If we cannot come to an outcome this evening, and or by Friday, June 12th, that will trigger a special election. Correct? Correct. Okay. I'll kick off this discussion. It was refreshing to go back over these past few days and rewatch our June 2nd special meeting to listen and reflect on the questions, the answers, and the thoughtful, enthusiastic tone of the 2 candidates. Both are extremely qualified. Both come with unique perspectives. I appreciate the level of dedication to the community both candidates have through their various organizations and volunteer capacities. I want to thank both JP and Holly for stepping up and throwing their hats in the ring of ideas. And it is my hope, I know it was discussed at the other meeting, I think it was the last question that Doc asked. But I hope that regardless of the outcome tonight and whoever gets appointed to this position, that the other individual continues on and provides the community with their insight, enthusiasm, and that unique Silvertonian spirit. So with that, let's get talking. Who wants to go first?
I'm
Second.
gonna do my speech again.
Let's do it.
Because like I said I would say this again. I am the only person who has been on the other side of that podium and applied for this role and not gotten it. Which Jim said he watched that meeting. And I will say, I think everything happens for a reason. And I don't think that I could have done it having helped my partner recover at the time. But I did run again. And I think you can, whatever happens tonight, process and be able to come back and still be a productive member of the community, which I hope I still am on this board. With that, I think one of how I like to approach this position is I hire a lot of people. I think I'm well known for hiring well in my organization if I don't toot my own horn. And when I look at the skills and like interviews, I look at very specific criteria of what are the like requirements for the job, and then what are the previous experiences of the job to match that. And I looked over, we had a ton of letters today from community members, which I will again take my little time here to say, can we get that every week? Like, I loved it. There were so many letters, and I really hope that more people send more comments because this is the most letters we got out of anything. So please keep sending those in. They actually really add value to our discussion, or at least that's how I think about it. And I did see overall the qualifications for this job being already a community leader, being able to make productive decisions, being able to hold multiple opinions and be conversational and creative. Based on the questions, the letters I got, I did see that Holly had met more of those qualifications. Hiring is always a tough decision, but that's what I came to see in all of the letters and during the time of interview.
Thank you. We did receive 41 letters.
Yeah.
Of support. In my 6 years, that is the most engagement I've seen. And I hope it continues. Chris? Carl? Someone's got their hand up. Chris.
Thank you. I'd just like to really start with an apology for not being able to be at that meeting in person. Traveling with some family plans I've had for some months here, but it was great to review as well. Really enjoyed and appreciated both JP and Holly, stepping up and coming in and discussing and answering all those questions. And then also just really appreciate the community's response. So that's just a great example of the community we have, that there is that much interest. And I'll echo Lindsay there and hope we can roll that energy into other topics as well. I know both these candidates very, very well. I think highly of both of them. And so it'd be a really hard decision for me either way. I really would like to continue listening to what everyone else has to say here. I have been hearing of the interest from JP Stanley for a long time. Actually, shortly after I guess I came on the board, and just that interest when that opportunity came up. So because of that, and also, I mean, it's really hard to pick one or over the other, with so many letters coming from so many different people for both candidates, and feeling that they're both very qualified. Just the interest that I've seen JP show for a long amount of time is kind of where I would side with my vote. But I mean, I don't think there's a wrong answer here at all.
Right. Thank you. Carl, if you're online.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. First, just again, sorry, I'm tuning in remotely. I'm facilitating a kids science camp down here in Durango, so I'll have to jump off right after we conclude this business item. But I thought this is really important, and especially just seeing so much community outreach support for both candidates, and just the fact that we have two fantastic individuals that have applied for this position. I feel it's really, really important to have a board of trustees that's composed of people who care, and both of these people really, really care. So that's excellent. And just as a starting point, I agree with Chris. We really can't make a wrong decision here, and I'm so happy about being in that position. I'll speak a little bit about the qualities I see of both candidates. JP is a hardworking, engaged, and dedicated member of our community. We've seen that so clearly through the letters of support that we've received, from the public comment that we've received, and through his standing and reputation in the community. And I think that's actually a trait that both candidates possess. Holly is somebody that I know a little bit better personally, but I also know her by reputation in the community. And similarly, she has a reputation for being really engaged, really hardworking, and very trustworthy. I think this is a super tough decision for us to make, but I do think that Holly would be the best member of the board at this moment. She's somebody who is really thoughtful and collaborative, but she's not a pushover. And that's a important balance to strike in a role like this. I think that she's somebody who really has that integrity to take the time, listen to the opinions, and then find a position that brings people together as much as possible through the events that she's facilitated, through her volunteerism in various organizations in town, and through her work as a dedicated and hardworking business owner. She's demonstrated over and over again that she has the ability to bring people together from all across our community. And I think that's a really, really important quality. So I would put my support behind Holly, but I do think that we are so lucky to be in this position to have two great candidates who critically really, really care about our town and really want to understand these issues beyond just a surface level. I really commend both of them for throwing their hat in the ring. And I hope that whoever is not successful in being appointed tonight will run again in the next election.
I hope exactly. Ron?
All right. First of all, I want to thank both candidates for coming to step forward and talking to us last week. This is going to be a very, very tough decision. We've got both of you are business owners. Both of you come with excellent credentials. We do have other business owners here in the retail part. One thing I'm concerned about is that I don't think this board has complete understanding of the land use code or the building code. In my opinion, I'd like to see somebody here that has a little more knowledge of that uses it on a daily basis and can enlighten us on some of the things that need to be changed or need to be altered or need to be improved on. With that said, I would tend to lean towards JP a little bit, although I think, Holly, you're very, very, very qualified. If either one of you don't get it tonight, I hope you'll run again in the next election. So that's where I stand on this situation.
Thank you, sir. Doc?
Yeah, I gotta reiterate that this is a lot more difficult of a decision than I thought it might be. Which is kind of a saying that, you know, the great qualities of both candidates, a great experience, although they're different. They're, I think, equally important. I think both would bring a significant value to the board. And so I also had the opportunity to read all 42 letters today and take all that under consideration in the midst of everything else. And I did look at the breadth of the folks who are writing those letters in terms of who they represented in town. And this isn't really what swayed my decision, but it was interesting. There was just a little bit of a different demographic. I think if you go back through each of them and maybe a little broader, I would say for, I might be wrong here, but a little broader for Holly. And then, you know, another item I considered is sort of that next level experience in operations and at a scale that you have to make decisions at when you're working with many different groups and people. And I think Holly kind of has it in that area. I wish we could bring on both, but I think I'm going to put my support behind Holly on this.
All right, thanks, Doc. Well, here we are. I've had lengthy conversations with both candidates. I've encouraged both candidates since day one. I have in my possession all 42 letters. It's a lot of paper. Hope the forest forgives me. Our job is to represent the town, is to represent the community, and is to represent everybody in the community. And that is, and what that requires is sometimes making these tough decisions. And whether it comes down to myself or anyone else making that tough decision, I'll make it. Listening to the people's voice, listening to the letters, reading the letters, it is overwhelming consensus that Holly Hubner does have the people's voice and carries the people's weight. And I have everything right here. The job is difficult. Both these candidates have what it takes. Both these candidates have community in their heart, community in their mind. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. And I think we all, at this moment in time, I think we need to put a motion out there and put it to a vote. If anyone wants to bring a vote to the table, let's do it.
I will make a motion to appoint Holly Hubner as the next Board of Trustee member.
All right, we need a second.
Second.
You have a first and a second.
Trustee Brosh,
Yes.
Trustee Brown,
Yes.
Trustee Robertson. Yes. Trustee Wakefield.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schechter.
Yes.
Mayor Harper.
Yes. Thank you, Melina. What I will say again, I hope you don't stop. Don't stop. Keep doing you and come back here in 2 years. That's what it takes. I want to thank JP Stanley. I want to thank Holly Hubner. I want to thank this board. Most importantly, I want to thank the town and every single citizen that sent in their letter of support. And I think the next step is our judge.
Vote Holly to tell us.
Let's do it. Thank you.
She will be rejoining us. Hi, Holly.
Hi, everybody.
Swear.
All right, you ready, Holly?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. If you will, raise your right hand, please. Okay. I state your name.
I, Holly Hubner,
Do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the state of Colorado,
and the state of Colorado,
and will faithfully perform the duties
and will faithfully perform the duties
of the town trustee
of the town trustee
upon which I am about to enter.
upon which I'm about to enter.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Holly, I'll have you come sign that when you're back, okay?
Okay,
Thank you, Holly. Welcome aboard.
thanks, everybody. And thanks, JP. You did a really amazing job also.
All right. It's the palm breeze. It's
And Chris.
okey-dokey. Moving right along, 7C, library board appointment. Elizabeth, you're up.
All right. So we have another appointment to consider this evening. We do have a vacancy on the library board. And so we solicited letters of interest and we received 2 letters, one from Deanna Harmio and one from Melina Marks. Tonight we consider appointing either Deanna or Melina to a 2-year term to the library board. At the same time, Kelly Hawbecker, she has served 1 2-year term on the library board and she's eligible to be appointed for a second 2-year term. And Kelly would like to be appointed for a second term.
All right, discussion.
I threw my hat in the ring because I sat on that board temporarily while I was in the admin position, but I have not read Deanna's letter, but if she is really, really amped about it and she really wants to be on the board, I would happily let her have that seat. It's not a, a make or break kind of thing, so.
I feel like we have two back-to-back really tough decisions.
And then another one.
It doesn't have to be.
Two great candidates,
It could be a really easy decision.
both very qualified. And I mean this in all sincerity, both enthusiastic about the library and getting folks to read. We don't do enough of that these days. I support both candidates. This is why, let's kick it around.
I mean, Deanna did have a very lovely letter around supporting like all the 4th of July fundraisers and.
Yeah, and you know what, if he's, her daughter just is leaving for college, so.
Yeah.
She might have even more time to dedicate to it, so I am happy to advocate for her if she's really interested in it.
Thank you though, Melina, for putting yourself out there.
Last time on the board when I was on it.
Recommendation or not recommendation?
Yeah.
It's recommending Deanna Hermio is what I'm hearing. Okay,
Staff recommends.
Chris?
Sounds like we should take that recommendation, and when there's more need, I'm sure Melina will step up again.
Thank you, sir. All right. We need two motions. Okay.
The last ones.
Oh,
Good at it.
All right, I'll make a motion to reappoint Kelly Hoppacker to serve a second term on the library board, and I will appoint Deanna to the library board.
do these have to be two separate
Oh, sorry.
motions and votes, or can they be together?
Okay, did that work for you?
That's fine, yeah.
Okay.
Second.
First and a second.
Trustee Brush?
Yes.
Oh, trustee Huebner?
Yes.
Trustee Brown?
Yes.
Trustee Halverson?
Yes.
Trustee Wakefield?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Schicker?
I believe he's already stepped out.
Oh, okay, Mayor Harper.
Yes. Thank you, Deanna. Thank you, Melina. All right, moving on to 7D, Special Improvement District Construction Bids. Mr. John Zarkis, 75 in your packet.
More fun.
More fun. So just a quick overview, the engineer's estimate for the probable cost of the improvements with the 8th and Bluff Special Improvement District, $1.5 million. Board of Trustees approved the release of the request for proposals for construction bids for the 8th and Bluff Improvement District. 3 construction companies attended a pre-bid back on 4/30/26. Planet Excavation and Animus Excavation was the only 2 that actually bid the project. And at the first go round, Planet was 2.044 and some change. And that was over the approved budget for the project. Animus submitted a bid of 1.126 and change. This bid was incomplete and did not include bid bond material, which is a requirement to submit. And so at that point, both bids were rejected. Both parties were notified on 5/19 that their original bids were not accepted and the supplemental bid materials would be accepted through May 28th. Supplemental bid materials required the addition of a 10% contingency. So I'd like to stop there and just give a little bit of background for the board. So the first, that is completely my fault. I did not catch that on the first go round. But after looking at some of the numbers, kind of the scale of the project, I thought it was prudent to go ahead and add a 10% contingency to protect the town from what we call in the industry change orders. So, so again, we went ahead and opened bids. Planet would come down by 144,000 to 1.899 and some change. And then Animas submitted 1.546 and some change, and that was 46,370 over the approved budget. But that was also an increase of 419,000 compared to the first bid. Currently, neither bid has met bid specifications for price. So there's a few options to consider here. Give direction to staff to approve outreach to Planet and Animas and to determine if either company can reduce total construction to 1.37 or less, not to exceed the 1.5. Final approval of the new bid would be contingent on Public Works Director determination that bid satisfies project requirements. Bid packets will not be adjusted for line items. Additional outreach to contractors will incur some cost for the town through SGM, because SGM is looking over this as well as I am. And every time I pick up the phone or we have a meeting, we incur some charges. And I believe when we went into that, we put something out, it would not exceed 15,000 out of the town. We're getting near that number. I don't know those exact numbers to date, but we're getting close, just so that you're aware of that. There's, we could always rebid early 27 or depending on what I'm directed to do. But at this time, both of them exceed the 1.5. And so we got to go back to the drawing board. Wanted to say a couple things that are not in the packet. 10% contingency is not, that is standard practice in the world that I live in with construction and everything. That is also a protection to help minimize risks for the town. Because that's part of my job is we don't want to get in place where, and contingencies exist because nobody knows what's underground until you start digging. We could get down, never hit bedrock. We could get down 2 feet and hit bedrock. And once you do that, that changes how fast and how easy or not that project will go. So it is really built in. And a lot of the years of experience, I've seen change orders. And so this is the way to protect the town from additional charges, surprises that are opened up during construction. I know Mr. Diener has contacted me about removing the contingency and also removing one of the line items for services. So the services, the contractor is in place. He is putting main line in, both water and sewer. It is much smarter. They have the materials, they have the equipment on site for those services to be installed to property line. That is something that is a good idea for the town, is to get these installed. So one of the things is, because it's gravel and everything, they would like us to come back and install those services at a later date when houses are starting to get close to construction. The issue with that is the town now incurs those costs.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I don't know what ground conditions are. Yes, the town owns an excavator, but the town does not own a hammer to go through bedrock. That would have to be something that was rented, and probably an excavator that would accommodate the size of the hammer. So those are potential costs that the town would incur in the future. So, and that could be anywhere from 50,000 to 85,000 as in the bid packet. That's what they have the contractors listed as. Depending on the direction that you put towards staff, one of the other things that I'm a little hesitant on is I can always rebid this. Because at this point, it has to be rebid, no matter what. I'm a little cautious because the way this is kind of going, my guess is we will only get one bid back. And that in the construction world is not a competitive thing. So that's just another little bit of piece of information for everybody to, consider. And at that point, I will shut up and I will let everybody ask questions because I'm sure there's going to be lots of questions.
Well, I did have a question. Jeff did have his hand up. Do we want to allow comment on this?
You're the chair.
I would like the comment. I'll go rogue. Jeff, if you want to raise your hand back up and comment, please do. There he is.
Hi, guys. Is this audio still working?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, thanks for the chance to speak here. I guess just a couple quick items for clarity. The engineer's estimate was never 1.5 million for the construction costs. As I outlined in the emails I've sent to you all, the 1.5 million is the cap that we approved for the combination of soft costs, which are legal and all the engineering that we've already spent and the engineering oversight during the actual project, other miscellaneous costs. So the actual excavation work obviously needs to stay underneath that number, but we have solutions to make that work. And we also have a solution, John Zarkis, we have a solution to install the services during the project. So that should be helpful as well. That's all I had to add for right now.
All right, sir. Thank you much. Right. Is there another hand? Well, and
Ron, I feel like my question for you, because I feel like this entire time we've been like contingency, right? I feel like that always was kind of baked into what we've been saying. That we should have that 10% contingency.
You've got to have it.
Yeah,
Because there's too many unknowns out there.
right.
Yes.
Okay, I'm just like trying to remember like back, this was like, last year around this time, we were starting this conversation. And that was a huge question is we
Yes.
need to protect the town, right?
Very much.
Okay, I feel like I was like, I'm not going crazy, right? Like we had that conversation. Okay,
I add on that a little bit.
yeah,
I agree in terms of the protection of the town. I talked with John in terms of the high level of confidence in his thoughts in terms of the operational risk, operational cost, the execution, and what could possibly, go wrong and so forth. And I appreciate and I agree with that. The other context of this is on a financial side, and this is getting back to the bond issue, and I've done a little bit of looking into this on my own. It seems that the town, and tell me if I'm wrong, if anybody knows, feel free to tell me I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. That a town should actually be working and partnered with the LLC, and should something go wrong, the town doesn't have to address individual landowners. Or if two or three landowners, something doesn't work out, that we're not chasing down individual landowners to solve problems. And that every problem that would come up would be addressed with the LLC. And in that sense, I would think that maybe the LLC would have liability insurance to cover, the situations that aren't foreseen, but would leave the town hanging on a $3.6 million, bond over the whatever number of years it would take to work that out.
Chris has hand up too. I asked that question too of Elizabeth because you brought that up last time, and I was wondering if Clayton had any clarity there around what that would look like. Do we know? I think he's on. Yes. Yeah.
And Chris, you could jump on whenever you'd like, sir.
Yeah, I'll jump in here just because I'm remote. I didn't want it to get confusing, but I guess I also just want to bring up like the risk of this going out another year, and what does that do to the costs and the bids, and I guess if we have this group that's very willing to try to ease concerns here, is there a way that we are comfortable with moving forward if the landowners acting as one, if they could satisfy that? And I don't know how to go about that. I don't know how you would, make sure that that entity is collectively as one held accountable rather than chasing the different property owners around, because that's a very great point. And then, so I guess if there was an idea of these solutions, maybe this is probably directed at John here. If there was a way you would imagine constructing this to move forward, how then, even if that was, what would that be, even if that was possible? And then if it was, how would we possibly hold them accountable and make sure that we're not potentially stubbing our toe later? And that might be a question for Clay.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that is going to be mostly a question for Clay on that part of it. It all ends up to the language that could be drafted, the assurances, I believe, that would have to satisfy the board's comfort level to move forward.
And we do, and this is probably a great segue to comments from Clay, but we do have from the emails that came in this weekend, proposals from the SID for property owners covering the cost of the service lines, the tune of 85,000, as well as being the responsible party for costs that exceed, I don't have the exact figure, but that 1.31 or something of that nature. So that has been proposed. And Clay, if you might be able to speak to, the nature of that proposal and thoughts on, liability or risk that might be associated with those.
Sure. So, I mean, it's hard to say without knowing what those contract vehicles or agreements look like, how much risk or liability there would be, but there are many different ways that the SID owners could contract and or otherwise make some sort of agreement either directly with the contractor or with the town beyond certain dollar amounts, whether that's through some sort of, like, I think one of the things they talked about was just taking, signing for responsibility. Maybe we can go as far as to do promissory notes. I mean, there's just so many different things we could do to make that happen. So, from a legal perspective, we could definitely come up with documentation that would legally bind them to any, cost overruns beyond a certain agreed upon amount. That's just going to be up to the determination of the board whether they want to entertain that or not.
So that's sort of addressing the operational component, the build out. That's not addressing that 3 years down the road when someone loses a job, moves out, sits on property, doesn't pay the taxes. That's what I'm talking about.
Right. So that's that coverage for us is done through valuation of the property itself. So the town, just like anything else, would be able to, reclaim that property through by and through the mechanism in place through the because we're issuing those bonds, and so we're going to be able to lien those properties. If your concern is directly, what about the extra money that isn't affiliated with the property through the SID? I mean, it's a great point, but we could contract very similar agreements that would put the property on the line for any debt. The trick for us is going to be that debt cannot exceed the value of the property. And that's, that is where the higher the cost.
What if, the higher the risk. I don't know if the town wants to sit on land that it may or may not be able to sell because it may or may not have the value that we think it might have today. More along the lines of, well, there's an expected, tax, there's an assessment, there's an expected tax revenue from each lot. And if that lot, for some reason, becomes vacant or that they default, it would be nice to think that the LLC is responsible and that we're not actually addressing the landowner themselves. And this is where I would think about the liability that they would maybe purchase. And that's indemnity sort of clause would address the projected tax revenue that should come off that land that is not coming off that land any longer, if that makes any sense.
Wouldn't our concern there be satisfied just by the value of the land being so much higher now that those services are already in place?
That doesn't solve a cash flow problem. That's just an asset that you sit on, and it's the cash flow to me that's important. And that's just a personal opinion.
I tend to agree with Dr. Brown on this. I think we're hanging ourselves out for potential problems.
And this is also in the context of the bigger picture in the town. We have other cash flow issues we have to consider on top of this. Other assets we might be sitting on. And to stack another one in there really complicates the topic. We were flush with, diversified revenue coming from taxes and other resources and so forth. That'd be one thing, but I'm just thinking.
Where is the cash flow problem going to come from? That's I guess what I don't understand. If we have that funded and the project is moving forward, bond insured, I'm trying to understand where this cash flow problem is going to come from.
And again, tell me if I'm wrong, but if there's 10 lots that are paying, taxes as we anticipate and we project our budget around, and that shrinks down to 4 lots in 5 years from now. And so the taxes that we are generating off of that are now less, and we're supposed to be using those taxes to pay the bond. Is that correct math, or am I missing something? And so now we're sitting on land that, we can't necessarily, whatever comes up, we might not be able to sell, but we projected a budget on X amount and now we're getting, 60% X. And we got a bond, behind us we still have to take care of.
Yeah, the projected risk is complicated with other factors, especially if you start looking at private promissory notes, et cetera, whatever that vehicle may look like. But there's always been the chance that something happens with the project. If half of the SID owners file for bankruptcy and leave the property, then that was something that we had discussed, but there is an added layer if as the costs increase, the security we have in the land decreases. And so that's just something for the board to consider.
Would you like to hear from Jeff again?
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to talk again. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a little more clarity on the numbers and what Trustee Brown was bringing up. I guess first of all, the SID is a legal entity in itself through Colorado statutes. It's not an LLC. The landowners are not a single LLC, but we have all agreed and voted to move forward with up to 1.5 million for this project. What you need to understand is that yes, there'll probably be annual or biannual assessments, which will pay down the financing that the bank is covering. Okay, and 90% of these landowners voted to create this SID because they want to build homes on their land. They do not want to run away from an assessment. They want to build homes on their land, and over 50% of those landowners, I've taken a poll, are planning on paying a large chunk of that assessment as soon as it comes due, which would be January 2027. So that lowers a lot of that liability with the bank. Also, if someone did stop paying their annual assessments on this SID project, yeah, the assessor can put a lien on the land, can take the land. And what we're talking about there is the as improved value of the land. So the debt to each average home site will be, if we max out this budget, the debt will be $150,000. Okay, and the as improved value of the land should be anywhere from 375 to 400,000. So I would say yes, if the town takes ownership of one of these properties, I think that's a pretty big windfall. You're covered and then some. So yeah, no one's running away from assessments. Everyone in this SID is fully on board with moving forward and building homes and sticking around. So that's all I have for that. Thanks.
Thank you. We've been at this for several years now. It's definitely a multi-year conversation, process. We've only gotten to this point through creative solutions to a much more creative problem or issue. And the issue is just what you said, John, we don't know what's under there. Other folks have told me that they purposely did not bid on this because they don't know what's in there. And they're nervous. I understand the increased costs. I don't want to lose momentum and have this project stall out. And I'm not asking for anything, but I think what I want is to keep the wheels in motion and progress in process so that we can find a creative solution to this. And I don't know what that looks like yet. That doesn't put the town at risk in the exposure or the homeowners because I am concerned. They're concerned as well.
John, did anybody do any core drilling up here before they bid it?
If they have, I'm not aware of it.
Did they come up and look at the project even?
The two that bid on it, I don't believe so.
I'm concerned that we only have two people bid on it too. That's unheard of in the construction business.
From what I'm used to, yes, I have to agree with you. But I mean, that's the thing is I can rebid this out. You know, and I can kind of do it the same way I done it the first time. I can give a 8-10 day for them to look at numbers. The thing is, when I do that, I have to put it back out to bid. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Mm-hmm.
I can decrease the time. I think still a week, 8 to 10 days is ample for them to look at stuff. But again, I can't guarantee that we're going to get 2 bids or 3 bids or 1 bid. That's one of the problems I can't solve. Is who decides and who decides not to.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there's always the possibility that we will get, again, 2 bids or a third. There's a possibility we'll get 1. And at that point, that's why staff may need directions, because I mean, I'd love to think of some solution, but right now.
Yeah. So the question is like, there's kind of 2 elements here. There's, from your recommendation, it's reject both and go back out to bid because of 2 issues. One, the contingency price, and then the additional 5 for water and sewer. And so I think a place where I would recommend we not like give in there is that 10% contingency and rebid with that. But from what I think I understand, and clarify if I'm wrong, that additional 85 for water and sewer, John, I know you recommend doing that in this process, but it sounds like the SID and the other landowners, we can set up some sort of agreement that they would pay for it, but it might not be in this process, right?
It would benefit them if it happens during construction.
Yeah, I hear you. That's what they're saying, right? That they will still pay for that additional cost. Yeah. So, should we take it 2 parts?
Well,
Do you want to go one?
let me ask a question.
Chris, I see you moving around.
I think we got to back up a little bit here because there's a bigger philosophical issue that 2 of us are hung up on, and that's the risk of doing this. And if we get into a cash flow problem, that's the first thing. I thought we were past it, but like this is a mechanism for investment in small towns that grow and even big towns that grow. And this happens a lot. And so I think that it's, I don't know if anybody else can help me answer some of those clarifying questions that I thought would give more comfort level for this type of a program. But if we are doing all of this and then later still decide that we are not comfortable with the investment at all, then what are we doing? So we might want to finish that conversation and make sure that we're all on the same page there. And then I'm still a big fan of figuring out how to make everybody happy, get our 2 attorneys together with John, or our attorney and the SID's attorney together with John to get things going now so we don't risk not doing it all, or we don't risk driving the cost up more by it being rebid next year or this winter for next year's building season by potentially only having one bid, or just the nature of all things going up in price in general. And so, I'm a big fan of this sort of investment in town. I think it's way lower risk than some of the other things that we're into. Some of the other things that we're hoping, we don't have notes payable coming up for, that, are hard to sell. These improved lots will be very easy to sell once there's services to them, especially at that value of, $150,000. We're seeing stuff sell that's way less appealing for at or more than that. So I think we need to take it into two parts and make sure everyone understands the investment and the risk reward of it before we, put a bunch of effort towards something that we aren't comfortable with in general.
My question to you, John, how much time are you investing in this right now? Is it consuming considerable amount of time that you could be spent doing something else?
Yeah, it is. I mean, anytime you start going back and forth and trying to figure this out, and I have not kept track of it, but it's been a drain on me.
Well, I think the first thing we should do is decide if this board wants to go forward with it, or if we want to just pass it on.
I kind of echo Jim. I think we spent a lot of time on the last board going back and forth and if we should do it or not. I know we have a new board. I don't feel good about stalling a project after having spent so much time. And I see the value in the SID and the structure and understand the risk and kind of hear the concerns. I mean, I guess, Dave, I am curious, like, based on Clayton's comments, like, do you feel like are you feeling, like, how does that sit with you?
It doesn't.
Okay.
So let me just start. What happened in the past in terms of us, there's a new board, what happened in the past and how much work was put in has nothing to do with whether this is a good idea or not. It has to do with actually, is it a good idea from today going forward? And what John is bringing up is new information, and that's what we're after. My thoughts on moving forward now. And, I agree with everyone that I am fully for development and building houses and so forth. But if there's sort of a 2 or 3 red flags that we feel that the risk just went up a bit, the next few months, we got one bid, and the way that came in and was adjusted and so forth is a little bit in question. Can they actually do what they say they're going to do? You have to be able to execute that. When you add, a third onto your initial bid, that says, well, what was wrong with the initial bid? So, Canada really the only viable contractor, it seems like, in that sort of bid range, actually do the job. And if they haven't visited, and there's a bunch of open questions here in terms of executing what we start. And then, that's aside from the whole idea of the what we talked about with Clayton in terms of the town's role should something go upend. The idea of who are we working with? Who are we going after? And do as a town want to talk, have to get into a legal, discussion or a situation with a single owner in the midst of the SID, and it's a hot mess. And if there's an opportunity for the SID to pull it together in a single organization, and if there is the ability to have contingency clauses in there to cover the town for anything, whether it's increased costs or lost revenue, I I would love that. And that does, to me, doesn't sound overly expensive and doesn't sound like it would take a lot of time for the city to pull it together. And that would take one big, risk off the table right there. So the other side of it then would be the operational. Can we get more than one contractor to bid this? Can we do it the right way? And so that's sort of everything I'm thinking about since, just coming on board here.
Evan,
I would suggest that some core drilling samples be taken in areas to kind of ascertain how the risk involved. I think this is one of the biggest factors to the pricing of it. And this would assist in answering that question.
Right. If this were to evolve into an asset for the town someday because of a debuff, it'd be really to know what that is actually worth right now or what it's not worth right now.
Sure. Or, just pending costs. I mean, we deal with that in zones where we're potentially anticipating it. Anvil, there's a lot of Faircrete out there, and that was, it's unpredictable, and that was challenging for some of the owners that build there. And if that helps give a clearer picture on what the cost might be, then it seems like an appropriate way move forward supporting it.
I will say, I just had a communication coming from Jeff. So I don't have the exact details of this, but Jeff is saying that we do have a soil core from the land on the SID, and that I'm not sure if this applies to one or both contractors, but contractors have been on site. And so we could ask Jeff for more clarification on that, but.
Are the cores occurring at house site locations, or are they occurring at infrastructure dig zones? I guess.
And at what frequency?
Right.
Because ground can change within 20 feet.
Sure.
Or 50 feet.
Well, let's,
I've broken protocol several times. Mr. Gibson.
I was just going to say that we've had quite a few core samples done on our particular bit of property. I can't say that every 3 millimeters of ground has been checked for rocks, but it's been, I think it's something volcanic sand soil, down at least 12 feet on my particular bit of property.
Thank you, sir.
I think we need to answer Dave's question. Like, can the SID even form an LLC to move forward? Right? Like that's.
Yeah, can the structure be organized to help reduce the risk of the town by operating as a single entity legally?
Clayton.
Yeah, they could. The owners could form whatever company they want and name it whatever they want and do business as an entity with the town or with another contractor. I don't know if it gets us any further. I mean, it would be just the same as the individuals doing it on an individual basis as the SID attorney kind of recommends, which is just signing as a responsible party. But again, responsibility is one thing, enforcement's another. But they certainly could form an entity if that is something that the BOT asked them to do or they wanted to do in order to organize around an operating agreement that clarified what their role was with any overruns, cost overruns, et cetera, with the agreement. It certainly is a option.
Would that provide more of like a liability shield to the town under an LLC versus individual property owners?
Well, I mean, LLCs are really meant as a liability umbrella for the company itself. It doesn't really pass on any special status to us other than the organization of it. The LLC for the individual owners, it means that if we were to go after the LLC, then the individual owners cannot be gone after. So the LLC itself would have to include some sort of security, because the purpose of the LLC for the owners would just be protecting them. It wouldn't really have much effect on the flip side of the relationship.
Clayton, if they had if they were able to do that and there was a liability policy that they held, and the LLC tax revenue that was supposed to be collected was not being collected, would not the whole LLC be responsible for fulfilling that revenue?
They would.
Yeah.
Yes. So I mean, if you're, I think what you're getting at is that there's kind of a safety in numbers thing, because all 10 of them or whatever it would be are beholden to the LLC, then we would only be dealing with one entity and it would be easier. And that was my point, is that it would be a benefit to us just based on an organization level. And yes, if the LLC itself had its own, liability, and then anything that was happening within the LLC ownership, whether it's 9 or 10 members, whatever the case may be, that would be their problem versus us just having to deal with one entity. So yes, from a convenience and organizational standpoint, you're correct.
Yeah, that's where you answered my question.
Yeah, good.
Ollie, I know you're new. You've been on the board about 7 minutes. I didn't want to leave you hanging without a comment. Is there any comment you'd like to make?
I think if it's okay, I feel really new.
That's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Just didn't want you to think we forgot about you.
No way.
All right, Jeff, this will be the last comment, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you all. I guess, yeah, I need to give more clarity again, because it seems like there's a lot of guessing here. And yes, we do have a core sample. We have 2 core samples, one on the Gibson's property and one in the right of way. And yes, the contractors are familiar with the site. They've been to the site. So yes, they are very familiar with what they're getting into. The fact that we actually have 2 contractors bidding on this kind of a project in Silverton is, as I mentioned in my email, it's kind of a minor miracle. So to think that somehow we're going to have 10 contractors jumping at a chance to work in Silverton for months, I think that's a dream. I mean, maybe in Montrose, but not Silverton. So, but back to the fear of rock and rock excavation. We have a soil core. We have 2 soil cores. SGM, the engineer, the town engineer, has looked at those cores. SGM has also estimated the amount of rock excavation for this project. They've looked at all the engineering diagrams, they've looked at the soil cores, they've estimated that amount of cubic yardage of rock excavation, and they gave that to the contractors. Each contractor used that cubic yard number to add that line item onto their bid. The only problem is that, yes, the rock excavation line item is not fixed. Every other line item is fixed. The rock excavation is the only line item that isn't fixed, but it is estimated by the town engineer. And they've done that by looking at the engineering and looking at the soil cores. So this isn't some giant unknown that we're going to find UFOs under there. That, this is pretty standard stuff, and engineers know what they're doing. That's why they're the town engineer. So I guess I would ask all of you to trust the engineers and to trust the process. This is pretty normal. And that's all I have for clarification. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Coming full circle, we have recommendation. If we recommend to reject both bids and put it back out, how far does this set this back? Does the momentum come to a screeching halt?
I don't believe it comes to a screeching halt,
Okay,
but I do believe it's gonna be. It depends on, as Doc Brown said, are they gonna do a LLC? Are they gonna come, they're still gonna have to produce, if they're gonna do the services, they're going to have to get all that put together. And this group would have to approve it to move forward with that. I mean, as far as rebid, again, I haven't looked at a calendar. I would stay with my standard as I've done the second. I'd figure out the date and give them 8 days to rebid. See what happens at that point. Hopefully we get 2. I can't guarantee it. And then at that point, there is a chance that it comes to a screeching halt.
When we were looking at the calendar earlier, just to sort of start envisioning what dates might look like if we put it out for rebid. And we're interested in pursuing some of these proposals again about the service line item, line item, and instead assuming responsibility for costs over a certain amount. So by putting it out for a rebid, 8 to 10 days. Obviously need to build in time for legal review and to have these discussions with the board. If these proposals are, if you have the appetite for them. So we were looking at probably early July, if things go according to schedule, to have the potential for things to be decided upon and buttoned up at that point. So we are looking at butting up into, accounting for weather days during construction season. Looking at potentially the construction project butting up to that early October timeline. Certainly the environment's going to be coming into play at that point, but that's sort of the rough timeline that we've penciled out.
Ron?
Personally, it looks to me like we've got a $10 project and we're trying to do it with a nickel. They're trying, I'm seeing corners cut everywhere possible. When it's done, it should be a first-class project done and turned over to the city, and we shouldn't have to worry about anything.
I agree. And again, I just feel nervous that from an organizational execution with what we have in front of us, there's just a lot of risk unknowns. It could be a better situation. And so I'm not enthusiastic to jump into a less than optimal, projection or trajectory with questions that are still open. I'm not sure if putting it out for bid, I think that would probably be the definitive at this point of the year. If we put it back out to bid, that's maybe the last opportunity this year. Is there a downside to doing that? Maybe there's a miracle that something comes back in budget and so forth. So I'm not opposed to put out for bid, but just knowing that it's going to set the timeline one way or another. It's the whole risk that lies around that down the road that I think we should be answering. And I don't know if we can do that in parallel, getting attorneys talking together, see if it makes sense to see if this is a novel idea. And if there's a standard out there somewhere where it operates as a single, entity that can carry liability, then we should look for that standard. And from my understanding, it seems like there is a standard, and it's actually unusual for a SID not to necessarily have a single entity and have, carry liability for, situations where cost overrun or loss of revenue with, it concerns a private, public partnership.
Is that from what you've researched?
Yeah.
Okay. I think we never heard that option when we were talking like last year, so I think that's interesting.
Did you ask, who were you
I
researching?
mean, we talked to the resources that we have available to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to speak to your point about, potential, the drawbacks or downsides to, to reach out to the contractors to discuss, the removal of the one line item, et cetera, staff time, and, we would be, bumping up against that, not to exceed $15,000, with SGM for pre-construction costs. But we do have that hard cap with SGM.
That's not something we really want to bring up and say extend that further.
No.
Yeah.
We would not be.
How close would you say we are, though?
I think we're about 12,000 right now.
Conversations. I use them as well. Yeah, okay. And is that in of itself a hard stop then if?
Yes.
Yeah, we won't exceed 15.
No,
Period.
We can't.
no.
We can't. This is, yes.
Yeah, and I haven't heard anything from anyone yet that says that the SID can't get its own liability insurance and can't organize to potentially satisfy these concerns. I didn't hear that LLC is really all that helpful, other than organizationally. It does not help us, other than organizationally, clerically. So, case, why don't we just see if we can put them together to figure out a way to make this happen based on what we have now with either of these bids, and maybe they will organize to give us assurances that any overruns that they'll pay for. Maybe they can put up capital and escrow to make us feel even better about that. All I know is it feels like, yeah, if we don't work towards that, then the whole thing is going to go away. That's just what it feels like.
Thanks, Chris. We can readdress this next couple of weeks. Slowing down, but not losing momentum completely. And getting Clayton involved and getting everyone involved. I guess more than they already have. That's what I want to see.
So you're looking for kind of some creative solutions for
Absolutely.
like LLC protections. So there's like a legal structure question.
Of course.
Yeah, okay. And then I think, but I don't really know if we have, I guess I don't know if there's like good consensus on direction is around these, like, when we go out to rebid, what do we include versus not include, right? Or do you feel like you have clarity there?
No, I think that's a good question, because I think I have to engage Clayton and say, these things have to be in place if I'm gonna take them out of the bid packet. Because I don't want, if they are truly gonna go away out of the bid packet, they have to be dealt with in another way.
Yeah.
And they have to be out of the bid packet before I send the bid back out. So it's.
Okay, so it's like the additional and kind of like structure question, the 85K water line, if that can be dealt with.
The services could come out after paperwork.
Yeah.
Between Clayton and SID attorney, lawyer, however that is penned.
Yeah.
And approved, signatures and all that.
Let me interject here real quick, because one thing that we're talking about is, and I think that's, John says it has to be rebid. One thing we've already done is amended, asked for amendments. So I just want to make sure the board feels like they have all the possible options here. you can ask both parties to amend, for example, to increase, decrease the contingencies, move the contingencies to different line items that are variable versus fixed. You can ask them to remove all line items that have to do with service lines. It's atypical for a utility line to build service lines. So there's all these things that we could go back and do that might be a little, I don't know if they're quicker. It depends on how long we allow the two bidders to amend. But from what I've seen, there's a possibility that going back and making some of these amendments will significantly reduce the cost, and it would be under our election number. I think it's hard. And then if, of course, then we'd have to discuss how we would organize and or hold owners of the property responsible beyond what the board is willing to accept it as risk for cost. So there's all sorts. It doesn't get rid of all the issues, but I wanted the board to understand we can always accept an amended bid. We can't cut and paste it ourselves and tell the contract, here's what we decided, because we'd have to give both bidders the opportunity to do that. And so we've already done that once, and we can do it again. Just as an option. I'm not advocating for one or the other.
Personally, I don't think we should cut the service lines out. This is the project. This is the way we want it. This is the way we should accept it. Instead of piecemealing it together and then maybe this will work, maybe that won't work. Maybe these people don't do the same job we want done, quality work. When we put it out for bid, this is what we want. Either the bid comes in at the price that they accept or it doesn't. Either the town wants to assume all this liability or they don't. We need to make that decision, not somebody else making the decision for us.
Right. I agree with that. It's a hard one to swallow it. I agree that that's the best long-term plan. Does it get done right once?
Can I clarify direction
Mhm.
for note-taking purposes? Provide direction to staff to work with the attorney to refine the bid request before re-releasing and addressing questions surrounding LLC formation, liability, costs, etc.
Chris, you feel good about that?
Yeah, that sounds fine. I still don't hear any reason to hassle them with the LLC. It doesn't help us at all. So I don't really understand that part, but that's
Liability and cost.
aside from what.
That's surrounding then just liability and costs, no LLC.
Yeah, and if through talking with them, Clay thinks that LLC is something that makes him feel more comfortable, then that is what it is. But I haven't heard that yet. But yeah, I would love that direction, that we see what we can put together with the attorneys and John to see if we can make a bid amendment that is clearer for everybody and to keep this thing moving forward.
I know what staff has put into this. I know the time and the effort, the multiple boards. This is not easy. It has never been easy. I know what Jeff, Mr. Gibson, all the homeowners and property owners on the hillside have gone through in order to get here. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this stall out. And if we can get closer to the goal line by waiting 2 to 3 more weeks, working through the next 2 to 3 more weeks, then that would be the ultimate outcome. That's what I would like to see. I want to get closer to the goal line. Is that adequate staff direction? Thank you, Melina. All right. Thank you, folks. Agenda item number 8. Discussion, direction. 8A. This is a generator conversation. Elizabeth?
All right. This should be nice and simple. At our 413 meeting, the idea of a joint purchase with the county for a generator to be used in emergency situations was discussed. Had direction to move forward with exploring that purchase. At our May 18th Finance Committee meeting, John presented financing numbers for the town's half the purchase. And the Finance Committee, approved moving forward with those numbers and financing through Wagner Cat Rentals. After that May Finance Committee meeting, the county reached out with an offer to purchase the generator to the tune of about 15,000, and offered that the town could finance the purchase of the generator through the county rather than Wagner Rentals. And the terms that the county has proposed are much more favorable to us than financing through Wagner, about a 2% interest rate difference. So we're very near to the finish line on this one. We have a draft IGA that's been presented to the county and has had legal review. And we're not quite ready. We're quite ready to give that final agreement a review this evening. But just wanted to open it up if you have any questions about this agreement with the county, and any input on direction to continue pursuing this offer from the county.
How would we share the usage of it?
So we'll do a separate IGA for the usage, and John's already started to put forth some language for that. So we would drop an agreement that outlines both the usage, the storage, and the maintenance. The town will store and maintain the generator, and then we'll have John and a county point of contact for coordinating usage and transport to different sites.
My question's for Clayton. Clayton, will we have a contract by next meeting?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I actually already reviewed that contract, and if you really wanted to, we could read in the 2 changes into the county's language into the existing contract. They're largely boilerplate language, one regarding the appropriations clause that we added, and then the other just really just informational. I'm pulling up the contract with the different additions. So if you wanted me to speak to those real quick, then you have that other option.
Yes, please.
There you go. So Elizabeth, will you send me the one that you just sent? I don't know why. Hold on. There it is. Sorry. So here it is, Mr. Mayor. The county added, hey, this is subject to annual appropriations because we had to, and then they added a very reasonably and smartly added, well, if we don't thereafter, meaning after we execute this contract, appropriate funds in the future, then we will give up any funds that we've already paid, and obviously we'll lose use of the generator. And that's just them protecting their asset. That's just smart. I don't have any issue with that. It's just saying, like, sure, if you have annual appropriations, that's great, but we're not just going to sit around. If it doesn't work, then we're going to discontinue use and do what you would do in that situation. The only other addition is what they call cooperative use, and it said that the parties will work together to allocate emergency use of the generator. The parties will share equally in future repair, maintenance, and costs associated with the generator. And again, I think this is a very standard clause for an MOU like this, where we're looking at dual use and purpose, as well as emergency issues for having the generator, et cetera. So it's just, again, it's very generic, it's very simple, but it's also a reasonable clause that I'm not surprised at all. So those two are the additions. If the board wanted to approve this agreement with the stated conditions, you could make that motion.
Should we wait for?
Oh. Well, what the heck? Ron up and vanished. Oh, there he is.
Ron Clayton just read the amendments to the contract. They sounded reasonable. Did you want them repeated? Because otherwise we could actually.
Sound good?
We could approve today.
Sounds good. Good job, Clayton.
Thank you, Clay.
Yes, sir.
So it would be a motion, right? Not direction.
With the changes or the
Yeah.
additions that Clayton specified.
Yeah, sure. Because I could improv, but it's probably better not to.
Sure, that's for the intergovernmental agreement with San Juan County for the purchase of a generator with the two stated revisions.
Oh, okay, great. I will make a motion to approve the contract for the purchase of a generator with San Juan County and the town of the intergovernmental agreement with two amendments proposed. Sorry.
We have a second. All right.
All right, trustee Huger,
Yes.
Ms. Bosch,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Mr. Halverson,
Yes.
Mr. Wakefield,
Yes.
Mayor Harper.
Yes, ma'am. There's one we can check off the list. Way to go, team. Agenda item number 9, committee reports. We will kick this off with 9A, the Finance Committee. Doc, you want to take this?
Caught me off guard.
That's okay. Finance Committee meeting was Monday, May 18th. We discussed 6 items. First one was the 2027 budget timeline. We discussed the February actuals. Number 3, we discussed sales tax figures. Number 4 was Kendall Mountain 2026 financials. Number 5 was the generator purchase. Guys, we just completed that, check that off. And number 6 was the audit update. I think that covered it.
Yeah.
Anything to note from the Kendall financials?
Doc, was there anything to note?
Yes.
Assume there was, so.
We discussed about a P&L for that sort of an item, and I think it applies not just to Kendall Mountain, but any other major operation, so we can sort of understand the impact, either positive or negative, it's having on that on the total budget. And do we have any, I guess there was a mention a couple years earlier, there may have been an attempt at a P&L for Kendall itself.
Yes.
Any luck with that?
Looking into it still, but the plan is, and I'll be talking with Steve about this, to locate that, review, make any revisions that we would deem necessary, and then bring that back to the finance committee.
Good. I know it's not going to be exact, but.
Sure.
You've been
Finance committee meeting is next
Monday.
Curiosity.
But just so we can understand, when people ask us questions, why are we doing this? Why aren't we doing this? So we have some real information to make some judgments, comments, and by all means, if it doesn't look good, it'd be great to turn it around so it looks good. Find a way of making that a profitable business if it's not.
Perfect. All right. We had a planning commission meeting. It was a joint town county land use code hosted by Mr. Mark Williams. And it went swimmingly. We all learned a lot.
We did.
Ron said we learned a lot as well.
We did.
What?
You
Also Was that last time?
It was last time.
Okay, sorry.
You were at the meeting too? You were there?
No, for I wasn't at planning commission.
No, but you were at this one and you learned a lot.
Oh, I did.
Yes.
It's a good reminder.
See? Perfect. Everyone's learning.
I thought we were talking about the adventure out to Chattanooga.
That was a fun field trip.
Yeah.
Number C, Team Gold. Elizabeth.
Yeah, so last month, Team Gold, after a little while, reconvened for a meeting, and so the MOU for Team Gold is expiring at the end of this year. The focus of this meeting was very much just on the task list identified in the MOU, and with the remaining budget, what each of the partners, so San Juan County, OEM, SMPA, and Eco Action Partners, what can realistically be achieved on that task list over the next 6 months. And so it was a very productive conversation. The main outcome was a change to SMPA's task list. So they were originally going to do a solar microgrid feasibility study. But with changes to availability of land for a solar installation, the group decided to pivot, and SMPA is going to do a feasibility study for a battery storage system. So Town of Rico is currently in the process of doing a similar project, a large battery that can be used as backup power for the town for I think up to about 12 hours. So I'm not going to pursue that feasibility study.
Perfect. All right. D, we had San Juan Development Association.
Yeah, so kind of the main focus for the last Development Association meeting was a review of developed action plans. Those are, it's an effort that Region 9 takes on. It's updated every 2 years. And it's identification of priority projects, the funding sources, the partners in San Juan County. And actually, Region 9 is going to be coming to our next meeting on the 22nd to review this map and get input on priority projects and initiatives for this list for the next few years.
Thank you. And last, we had Facilities, Parks, and Recreation Committee. That is Carl, Ron, and Chris.
And we do have.
I'm not on it.
You were.
No, it was Amy.
You were. Oh, okay.
What'd you guys talk about, Ron?
That leaves it to me, doesn't it?
I can jump in there if need be. Either way.
We started out with, they're gonna work on the crawl space at Kendall, and if there's money left over, that's gonna go towards the roof. Hopefully, we've got the road problem rectified, so when we work on the crawl space, we'll in a few years. We're looking into snowmaking and lighting equipment at the ski area. The Mile High Jeep Club was wanting a substantial discount to rent Kendall. I think that's still under consideration, but not likely. Someone has suggested that we get a tent and use it for rentals at Kendall. And we're gonna look at renting it out, or we would rent it from someone and re-rent to people versus a purchase. And we're also looking at expanding the Frisbee golf, which we had something on earlier this evening. And we're looking into a skating trail for people. So there was a lot going on.
Wow. Fun. Literally.
Recreational area.
Right man for the job. Perfect. All right. Moving on to open discussion and future agenda items. Do we have anything?
I actually have a question. Sorry, I don't mean to make this go on any longer. I just saw that the governor declared his drought emergency. Does that change anything that we have to do? Sorry, I know, I just saw this newspaper like article today.
The last that I spoke with Gilbert, which was before that, he said that it was still fire restriction below 8,000 feet, but I'm not sure if that's changed.
Okay.
Went out over the weekend.
Yeah,
So might just need to check with Gilbert.
okay.
Believe
Mhm.
Wednesday, the county is gonna enact
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
fire
yeah,
restrictions. I gathered that from my conversation with Willie earlier,
Okay.
and I think it's bound to happen.
okay,
Yeah, I think we're there.
yeah.
This wind is not helping.
Oh, the wind is scary, huh?
Yeah.
They did get that fire, put out in Thermos, so.
Yeah.
It's good.
And yeah, I would continue to monitor intake numbers at Boulder Gulch, and, you know, depending on, you know, John's recommendation, we could pursue, if conditions warrant, pursue stricter municipal water restrictions.
Cause I think it was just like the drought task force has been activated or something, so I'm just, like, I don't know what that means for like us.
Yeah, yeah, we can.
Yeah.
It's a good. Yeah.
I think it just means they're preparing.
Okay, okay,
So that's one of
yeah,
steps to get us to that point, from what I've read too.
yeah.
Chris, anything? Feeling good? All right. Ollie, thumbs up?
I also feel good.
All right, all right, all right, let's open up public comment once again. Do we have anyone in the audience here, live in person, that would like to come to the podium and give thoughts, feelings, anything at all? Nope.
Oh, wait, no. Oh,
Fantastic. We do have a hand raised online. Let's move to online public comment. We have two hands up. First, Jeff.
Okay, hi again, folks. It's Jeff Diener here, the SID representative. I just want to give you more clarity here on some of the questions that came up during your discussion. I guess number one, to Trustee Wakefield, this is not haphazard, what we're doing here. The landowners are still talking about adding the service lines at the time of the rest of the construction. I did outline all of this in those emails I sent to you, but I know they were long. Yeah, I'm kind of a novelist. But yes, so we are putting the service lines in at the time. We're just going to pay the contractor directly instead of having this as a line item on the actual bid contract. Number two, as Clayton pointed out, these current bids do not need to be rebid. They can be amended. So there's plenty of room for negotiation and speaking with the contractors here. There's no need for a rebid, and we can get our attorney together with Clayton to give you more details, I guess, for the next meeting. But I just wanted to let you all know that we are here to carry the contingency that you're asking for, and we are also taking on those costs for the service lines, just not on the bid contract. Also, I would like to be more clear on the basis for the contingency number that Mr. Zarkis is using. Like I said in my initial public comment, the complete, all the costs of the SID are capped at 1.5 million. The construction is lower than that. Like right now, we're shooting for 1.31 million. So any contingency, we don't need a contingency for legal fees and for engineering costs. We just need a contingency. If you want to use 10%, it should be a contingency based on the construction cost. That's all. So that's all the clarity I had for you. We'll try to get the attorneys together ASAP and have something more fleshed out for the next meeting. So thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. In just under 3 minutes. We have one more hand up. Hey,
Hi, can you hear me all right?
yes.
Hi, this is Chris and Rebecca. We're two of the landowners on Shrine Hill. We're actually making our way down to Silverton. We'll be in town tomorrow. We plan on getting married there. Our dream is to live in this town. We have lots of money set aside for this project, specifically for this dream. And I just want to remind the board about the master plan that we bought into, that the town bought into, and based on the strength and the planning that went into that master plan, we bought into the Silverton dream that we're trying to become a part of. I just want all of you out there to understand that real people have their lives invested here, and we're ready. We're ready to be Silvertonians. So please just keep us in mind. Thank you. And thank you, Jeff, for everything. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right. Seeing no other public comment, we will close the public comment period. We have 6 meetings coming up. So buckle your seats. We have a trustee retreat, June 10th at 5 p.m. We have a finance committee meeting, Monday, June 15th at 9 a.m. It's Monday, correct? Okay. We have a joint town county meeting, June 15th at 6 p.m. A Silverton Housing Authority and regular trustee meeting, June 22nd at 5:30. We have an audit work session, June 29th at 5:30 p.m. and a personnel and ordinance committee meeting, July 1st, and I'm assuming 9 a.m.
4 p.m.
Oh, I would have showed up all by myself.
Jim, we also have the special planning commission meeting tomorrow for the county's land use code.
Yes. That's not here, but it's on my phone.
I know, I just, we're adding meetings.
That's right, we have meetings all week.
Also wanted to add, town hall will be closed on June 19th, in observance of Juneteenth, Friday, June 9th.
We're
on here.
Thank you. Anything else I missed? Perfect. I again want to congratulate Holly Hubner for joining our town board. We're going to do great things. I also want to thank JP Stanley for all the effort he put forth. And I believe in the next election cycle, we are going to see his name on a ballot. Thank you all very much. The time is 7:50 p.m. We will conclude this meeting of the Silverton Board of Trustees. Thank you so much. Holly, see you later. Chris, see you later.
Literally.
Yep.